Have you ever thought about the fact that the most effective safety device in your car was once considered a joke, an uncomfortable nuisance, even a potential death trap? We're talking about the seatbelt, a strip of woven fabric that today quietly, in the United States alone, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, estimates seatbelts save approximately 15,000 lives annually. The World Health Organization, WHO, and the UN Economic Commission for Europe, UNECE, state that seatbelt use reduces the risk of fatal injury by 45 to 50%. Its story spans from an obscure 19th century patent to a modern system of explosive pretensioners and load limiters. This is the story of how a device the public rejected became humanity's quietest lifesaver. Before cars even existed, the idea of strapping yourself in had already taken shape. In 1885, New Yorker Edward Claghorn patented what he called a safety belt. It wasn't meant for automobiles, but for tourists and carriage riders who needed something to keep them secure during rough rides through the city. Made from leather, brass, and heavy buckles, it was crude but ingenious, the ancestor of what we'd later recognize as the lap belt. By 1903, French inventor Gustave Désiré Laveau went further, envisioning a four-point harness that crossed the torso and hips, an idea decades ahead of its time. These were concepts without a true home, waiting patiently for the arrival of a machine fast enough and dangerous enough to make restraint a matter of survival. When automobiles arrived, the industry wasn't thinking about safety. In the early 1900s, innovation was about style, power, and prestige. Chrome grills, bigger engines, brighter paint. The first company to offer seatbelts was Nash Motors in 1949. They installed lap belts as an optional feature, and almost nobody wanted them. Buyers thought they were unnecessary or restrictive. One dealer reportedly said, "No one pays extra to be reminded of death." Then came the medical evidence. In the 1950s, Dr. C. Hunter Sheldon, a neurologist from Pasadena, treated a steady stream of car crash victims. He noticed that many injuries weren't from the crashes themselves, but from how the body moved inside the car. Lap belts, the only restraint available, often caused devastating abdominal trauma. Doctors called it seatbelt syndrome, ruptured intestines, spinal fractures, internal bleeding. The belt restrained the pelvis, but left the torso free to pivot forward violently. Sheldon called for retractable belts, reinforced roofs, and airbags, decades before they were reality. Ford Motor Company tried to lead the way. In 1956, led by Robert McNamara, Ford launched the Lifeguard Safety Package, padded dashboards, deep dish steering wheels, stronger latches, and optional seat belts. Ford even sold the belts below cost. But the campaign failed miserably. Buyers mocked it, competitors ignored it, and executives concluded that safety simply didn't sell. Henry Ford II reportedly said, "McNamara is selling safety. Chevrolet is selling cars." That sentiment would haunt the industry for years.
In 1958, Volvo made a brilliant hire, Nils Bohlin, an aviation engineer from Saab who had designed ejection seat harnesses. He knew exactly how to secure a human body under high G-forces, across the chest and pelvis, the two strongest areas. Within a year, he designed the world's first three-point seatbelt, a single continuous strap anchoring the upper and lower body in one motion. It debuted on the Volvo Amazon and PV544 in 1959. On August 13 that year, the first car equipped with Bohlin's belt rolled off the line in Sweden, quietly beginning a revolution.
Volvo did something almost unheard of in corporate history. They gave the patent away.
They opened it freely to all automakers, declaring that saving lives was more important than competition. It was an act of corporate altruism that changed the world. Without that decision, seatbelt adoption might have taken decades longer. Volvo's moral choice became one of the greatest public health contributions by a company in history.
Nils Bohlin wasn't finished yet. After inventing the three-point seatbelt, he set out to prove, beyond any doubt, that it worked. In Sweden, Bohlin personally studied over 28,000 real-world car accidents, comparing outcomes between belted and unbelted passengers. The findings were astonishing. At speeds below 60 miles per hour, not a single belted occupant died. The data spoke louder than any advertisement or argument. It silenced critics, convinced regulators, and changed public policy around the world. From then on, the debate was no longer whether seatbelts worked, but why so many people still refused to wear them.
Despite the evidence, people still resisted. In the US, wearing a seatbelt was seen as an attack on personal freedom, government interference in private life. Critics called it paternalism, the state forcing citizens to protect themselves. Even New York's 1959 bill to sell cars with belts was rejected. The message was clear: liberty first, safety later. The result was tragic: tens of thousands of avoidable deaths every year. The first government to act decisively wasn't American, it was Australian. In 1970, the state of Victoria became the first place in the world to require seatbelts by law. Compliance soared to 90% within a few years, and fatalities fell by more than half. The success forced other nations to follow. New York finally enacted a law in 1984, 14 years later. By the 1980s, engineers refined the belt into a high-tech system. First came the emergency locking retractor, allowing free movement during normal driving, but locking instantly in a crash. Then came pretensioners, small pyrotechnic charges that snap the belt tight milliseconds before impact, removing slack. Finally, load limiters let the belt webbing stretch slightly under extreme force, reducing chest injury. A system born from a strap had become an intelligent, active guardian. According to NHTSA data for 2021, of the 26,325 passenger vehicle occupants killed in U.S. traffic crashes, 11,813, or 45%, were unrestrained. The seatbelt's journey wasn't about metal or fabric. It was about mindset. From rejection and ridicule to global law, it became the quiet hero of modern travel. Today, it saves a life every few seconds somewhere in the world. If you enjoyed this story and want to explore more hidden histories of everyday innovations, don't forget to subscribe to Origin Lens. Leave a comment with your thoughts and tell us which invention should we uncover next. Until then, stay curious and always buckle up.